आज मैंने स्टार्टअप खोला है, मैंने दुनिया को एक वरदान दिया है कि ये लो मेरा स्टार्टअप. Open offices, open infrastructure, make people feel like adults, give them a grand vision and everything will align itself. When we go to Mussoorie, it's like, क्या हम प्लेन में जा रहे हैं? तो नहीं, मसूरी प्लेन में नहीं जाते हैं साले, ट्रेन में जाते हैं. I run this startup called nearby.com. It is India's largest local commerce platform. And the only thing that has genuinely helped in this entire journey, as hard as it has been, is this concept of leadership that I defined for myself. It took a long time to get to this point, so I'm going to use a little bit of context to establish why this journey was hard and then get to it. So when I started up, and this was 2009, that was my first startup. And my first startup, by the way, was this website called secondshadi.com. It was India's first marriage website for remarriages. For me, the biggest lesson is that entrepreneurship is hard because it's possibly the best equalizer in the world. We're not in the business of fundraising, we're in the business of building a business. And nothing that you have done in life gets you to build a great business because consumers don't care. And that's why it is so hard, mentally, psychologically, emotionally. Because you're like, oh my God, man, I'm like IIT Delhi gold medalist. और आज मैंने स्टार्टअप खोला है, मैंने दुनिया को एक वरदान दिया है कि ये लो मेरा स्टार्टअप. और लोग हिल ही नहीं रहे हैं. It messes with their mind. Can you imagine that? It was not the cool thing. So everyone had to rely on inspiration. And where were our inspiration coming from in 2009? It was coming from the West. That was all that we had to offer. That's all that we had to see. So we were reading text about building organizations that came in from the US. We were reading text about the Valley. And everything around that was around a very clinical playbook that seemed to work extremely well in the US. Open offices, open infrastructure, a setup like this, make people feel like adults, give them responsibility, give them a grand vision, and everything will align itself. It's the best place for the smartest minds to get together and create magic. Whatever you want to do, you can do it because this is the cool way of running the right company. And it's worked clearly for Google, for Facebook, for anyone that you pick up in the US. And I, without knowing anything, absolutely fell in line. I was like, this is the way to do it. That is what leadership is. That is what the CEO has to do. That is what the founder mentality is. And I did that and nothing moved. Like literally nothing moved. What was I expecting? I was expecting them to come and saying, you know what? This is wrong. This is right. I love this point of view, but I think we should consider this. I don't think we should be thinking of this way. I don't think we should be going down this direction. I feel we've taken a bad call here. Whatever the case is, it's like this nice, happy feedback flowing in seamlessly, just the way that you can imagine. But nothing like that happened. And I was like, I must be doing something wrong. And it was only after close to 3 years of having patiently waited for this to unfold did I realize this is not going to work. And then I just devoted my time into understanding why doesn't this work, and if this doesn't work, then what else works. And the biggest realization I have is all the learning that we have from the West, almost all of it, doesn't apply to us. It doesn't apply to us because we are a different culture. It doesn't apply to us because we are a different context, and it doesn't apply to us because we are not yet trained to even appreciate what it brings. Because we are a very different animal as a country. We've been trained in a very different way. Our context is completely different, and that's why I realized that we have to take it into a very different dimension than what we have learned from the West. People who are between 18 to 25 right now, what's the world that they grew up in? 1991. 1991 is when the economy liberalized. That means anyone born after that faced a completely different world from us. A completely different world. For them, Google was a default. For them, today messaging is a default. So this context was, number one, they grew up in a world where technology is so pervasive that everything that they need happens instantly. Waiting is not something that they understand and recognize. You need a book? Click. You need food? Click. You want to watch a movie? Click. You want a date? Swipe. Everything happens instantly. 21 साल में मैंने अपनी पहली फ्लाइट ली थी और मेरा 8 साल का बेटा 5 कंट्रीज विजिट कर चुका है. And he doesn't appreciate it because for him, it's the world. Like when we go to Mussoorie, he's like, oh, क्या हम प्लेन में जा रहे हैं? तो नहीं, मसूरी प्लेन में नहीं जाते हैं साले, ट्रेन में जाते हैं. And that is the way it is. It's a very different world. So one, they were not used to waiting. Second, information is being dissipated at the instant it is created, which means there is no gap between what is happening and when it's experienced. No gap at all. As a 10, 14, 15, 20-year-old, to see someone getting shot, and it could be by a terrorist and who cares? It could be by their friend and who cares? It's a live person getting shot and they see it on their phone, through a WhatsApp forward, through a TikTok video, I don't even know where, but somewhere. That means everything that is happening in the world is getting to them in an instant, which is the second piece of the context, outside of the fact that they do not know what it is to wait. And number 3 is because of how we as a generation have grown and what we have changed ourselves from a pre-internet era to what it is today. Everyone that we are indulging with, whether it's our kids or whether it's very young people from 18 to 25, we are dismissive of what they're witnessing, and yet we understand where it could help. Before you are dismissive, just understand this context, because once you begin to appreciate and respect where people come from, context is everything. Every problem in this world gets solved if you appreciate the context. So delve into the context. And by definition, as I started with, leadership is not about painting the same context for everyone. ये सब 25 साल के हैं, ये सब ऐसे ही behave करेंगे. नहीं, सब अलग हैं क्योंकि सबकी दुनिया अलग है. And if you want to be a true leader, you have no choice but to actually go down to every single level and get a customized and a personalized view of that individual. When you really think about it, it's almost ironical that the best leaders we think of are people that we possibly would never want to be ourselves. That's the gist of my experience. It's a lot to consume because I've been through myself a lot, but thank you for being patient so far. Thanks.